Hi all. Right, welcome back. Red Storm with the dark blue defection scenarios. This is just scenario 1, Red Dawn. This is part 7, I think. Yeah, it's just glancing back there. Yeah, been a wee while, just not really had the time. Yeah, some of you might have noticed I started another video of DD at Saipan as well. Was decided to make it a Christmas present. Well, if any are interested, go and watch that. I'll tell you all about it. So we're going to maybe jump between these two. Hopefully we can get this scenario finished pretty soon, I think. However, I think I was looking things over and think we've got a bit of a challenge to get it finished with success, I think. Because one of our flights has been depleted of his weapons, and none of the bombers have been taken out yet, or had their weapons depleted or the likes. Anyway, right, we'll just push on. Let's say I haven't really had the time, and then I had the time that I did have, I started that other game, so just to change things up a bit, but right. Anyway, John Brown made just a few comments this time, so I thought I'd... well, actually, John, I was going to come and answer them to you as well, because there was only like 4, I think. I've not done that yet, so I'll either do that or I'll just put a wee note saying that I've looked at them, done it this way as well, which I was doing before, because there was that many things to look at. So he's got his time stamped at 14:30, and this is in part 6. The weapon modifier for AIM-9M is +3, and yeah, I just looked back on that and I thought, right, what have I gave it? Did I give it a +2? I gave it a +1, and it was the right weapon I used, but I used it in the BVR, and it wasn't BVR we were using, so I gave it that +1 there when it should have give it a +3. I think that's what I've done. So, by the way, I've got a pretty bad cold now and coughing a bit. I'll try and pause when I feel it coming on. But anyway, so I got a +3, which would have been a total of +4 because we had the other weapon. It still would have came to a 10, which was still no effect, fortunately. So we got away with that one. The next one at 29-minute mark. Let me see what he's saying here. Yeah, I've not went back and looked at this, but he's got it, like I say, he's got a timestamp. Basically, special scenario rule 5, which I've got highlighted, well, I've got there, is saying that Su-24s continue on the flight plan even when detected enemy flights would normally be close enough to provoke an engagement actions roll. Yeah, so they're not concerned. I mean, they've got fighter support with them, so it's up to the MiGs to really deal with that. Their job is to try and get the bombing done, isn't it? So it says there, after activation, if Su-24s see bombing flight, ignore engagement actions, defend as per bombing assignment and continue on flight plan. Yeah, that's what my question had been, was what does that kind of mean? Defend as per bombing assignment, continue on flight plan. And I think what John's saying is there, we continue on the flight plan and they get defended as per... Yeah, no, he actually mentions it here, doesn't it? He says, the defend part is just reminding... Sorry, I'm trying to read this off my phone, and it's just reminding the player that flights tasked with bombing can only defend against air-to-air attacks, i.e. they cannot initiate an attack. Yeah, and I think this is where this comes back to, if we look up here, USSR 2 times Su-24C, and that's what they are. Task is bombing, whereas just above there, the MiGs are close escort, and the Su-24s are bombing. Let me just have a look in the rulebook for that. Yeah, I think this tells us here, and this is in the main rulebook, page 12. It's under raid tasks and planning. And you can see bombing at the top there. Air to ground, raid targets in the target hex, and AA SAM targets in within 2 hexes of target hex. Air-to-air defend. Other abort if all air-to-ground ordnance jettisoned. So that's their behaviour. They're air-to-ground, air-to-air, they'll just defend. That's right. They won't initiate. Whereas close escort is the MiGs, it's further down. So air-to-ground, none. I was trying to zoom in a bit. Oh, that's as far as we can go. Air-to-ground, none. Air-to-air, attack and defend. So they can initiate an attack and they can also defend. Other may not voluntarily move greater than 6 hexes from escorted flight. May not initiate combat when greater than 6 hexes from escorted flight. Abort if all escorted flights abort. Okay. I don't know if that bit does come in or not. If we were greater than 6 hexes away from them, that's kind of saying that we would not initiate the combat. We would want to get back to escort our bombers, I think. Not sure if there's anything different within the dark blue defection rules on that, mind you. Well, that's the place to look, I guess. So if we do come back here, and it's actually special scenario rule 6 is after activation if MiG-29A follow close escort rules, which is basically, I think, just what I just read. If no bombing flights are activated, resume close escort with closest generic flight. If detected enemy flight in same hex, or within 7 hexes, go to engagement actions on Pack 5. Okay, right. Hopefully we'll grasp that. But yeah, my question had been about that defend part. And that makes sense. Yeah, they can't attack. They can defend themselves in air-to-air combat, but they can't attack the bombers, that is. So, yeah, and he's got that in brackets at the end, i.e. they cannot initiate an attack, yeah. Okay, so next one was at the 35-minute mark, special scenario rule 7. Again, this has been a while, so I've not looked back on... I had a brief look back in the first bit. It just means going over to the computer to look at this, so see if we can get away with it. What is he saying here? Special scenario rule 7 is only applicable to the MiG-29s. So hang on, let's read it. If a bot flight is activated and no detected enemy flights are within 7 hexes, use combat throttle, move to medium altitude, do not zoom climb, return to flight plan closest waypoint, or resume close escort roll with closest bombing flight with ordnance first. If no bombing flights are activated, resume close escort with closest generic flight. Yeah, I think I was wondering about my bombers doing this, wasn't I? It says it's only applicable to MiG-29s. If for some reason they get further than 7 hexes away from any detected NATO flight, which is the case if all NATO flights are undetected, they just resume their close escort duties using the actions described in the SSR. Yeah, so where were we? Did we activate our MiG? Yeah, because I think the MiGs made the attack, didn't we? I can't remember where I am here. I don't remember what part I'm at. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look at the end of the video to find where I am. Okay. So yeah, that's what he's explaining there. I must have been confused by that. And then the last one at 48-minute mark. Basically, the part of 8.35 you're confused about. Again, I've not got a clue here. Hang on. Yeah, 8.35. This was about the rally point, but this was me trying to get this light bulb on that Howard had said should happen. I'm not so sure it has just yet, but anyway. Basically, the part of 8.35 you're confused about is saying that friendly airfields that are too close to targets cannot be used as rally points. Not sure it matters for the scenario since Kassel airfield is 8 hexes from the front, let alone any Warsaw Pact airfields. Okay, I think I get that. Yeah, I mean, he's saying not sure for this scenario. Not sure it matters for this scenario, as Kassel airfield is 8 hexes from the front, let alone any Warsaw Pact airfields. So it'd have to be at least 10 hexes away from a target, is that what it's saying? At least 10 hexes away from a site's target hexes, if any. Target hex, yeah. Still not 100% sure about how I'm reading that, but anyway. Right, okay, I did go back and have a wee check there. We were at the end of the turn, and I had moved on to turn 6. I think that was pretty much the last thing I'd done. Maybe I rambled on a bit at the end. So this is the start of a new turn. So, sequence of play, we're going to roll for an event. See what we get. We've got 7. Now there's certain ones that we don't use, isn't there? No, the following random events. 5, 6. No, 7's not one of them. However, the bot random event instructions for 7 man pad ambush. So, with the normal scenario random events, we roll 1d10 again, and then on a 1 to 5 it'd be Warsaw Pact, on a 6 to 10 it'd be NATO, and then it gives you some instructions. However, the bot random event instructions, man pad ambush, randomly select a human player flight among flights at deck and low on hostile side of the front. Well, we're not on the hostile side of the front, are we? That is that. Pretty sure that's that dotted line coming right down. That's dotted line and the sort of dark grey. Yeah, because that shows it on the map as well, doesn't it? It's got it marked with front markers. Yeah, so I'm guessing that only affects, what does it say in the main thing? Once you've rolled, that player selects one enemy flight that is at deck low and on the hostile side of the front for a man-pad ambush. Make a heavy AAA barrage attack on selected enemy flight. The flight is considered to be at speed 3. If no enemy flight is eligible, there's no effect. Well, we're not on the wrong side of the front, so randomly select a human player flight among flights at deck and low on hostile side of the front. Okay, so I think that's not going to apply. Right, what's next? Jamming phase. Right, no. That's all about jamming jams and all that, Grant, isn't it? We're not got to that yet. Sorry, again, it's been a wee while since I looked at this again. So, detection phase, right. So roll to detect. Now, the 2 NATO flights are undetected. Yeah, well, we're rolling to detect here, aren't we? Now, we've got to also remember that the Pulov flight does have a radar, doesn't it? Okay, wait till I get the detection phase chart out, I think. Right, well, first of all, we do a normal detection. Because you've got normal, I think it goes in that order. That's how it's got in the rule book. It's got normal. And then visual, radar search, and then early warning radars. Detected enemy flights with defensive jamming capability must be indicated to the other player. Jamming is lost for any reason that must also be indicated. 19.2. I thought the jamming only. Hang on. I'm not sure why it's mentioned. Jamming on there. Page 16, 10.24 jamming. Detected enemy flights with defensive jamming capability must be. Okay. It's just saying that you would have to announce if you've got jamming to the other player. Obviously, we're playing solo anyway, so. And then if you lost jamming for any reason, you've got to also let them know that as well. But only when the flight's detected. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do the normal detection first. So on the NATO flights, let's get there. Yeah, there's the detection table. And again, once I move on in the second scenario of this, I'm not going to keep showing these charts because it takes time. Like I say, setting the charter. Plus, this is set up on the map. There might be more stuff on the map, and I've not got the space to do it. So, once we move on to the second scenario, most stuff I'll just be reading off camera to you. Well, if you've got the game, you should have all the charts and that anyway. Or you can just believe me when I say what I say. Although I would like to get corrected. There you go. I read that modifier for the missile wrong. But right, what we're doing, this is the Soviets. They've got a detection level of C, haven't they? So we're on the C column, and we're detecting. So what's Cobra is at deck and rough, and Roach is low altitude. It's disordered. Got a manoeuvre marker on them. I don't think any of these things matter. It's just if they're at deck and rough. So Cobra's going to get a -4 to this roll. Yeah, okay. So I will roll that on the C column. He's got 9, -4, so 5, so that's going to be a no, isn't it? Yeah, so no for him. And then Roach, well, Roach doesn't have any modifiers. Like I say, the disordered part of that doesn't seem to come into anything. So, yeah, there's no modifiers for Roach. And I rolled 17, so he's going to get spotted, isn't he? On the C. Yeah, so Roach becomes detected. 5, 2, 1, 2. Right, and so what have we got up here? These have done max turns. So he's detected, and he's detected. Yeah, they're all detected because they're showing. Oh no, Pulov's not. They're showing their suit. This one's identified. Which I think we might get to that. Well, let's roll for Pulov first. Now he is at deck. No, it's not. There's just that rough finishes. I don't think it creeps into that hex. So he's at deck level, but not in rough. Yeah, so he gets a -1. Flight at deck, Warsaw Pact, -1, and we're on the D column this time, so there you go, they got a -1 because of Warsaw Pact, and it's the D column for the NATO detection check. Rolled a 10, what did I say, -1's 9, so I don't think that's going to make it, is it? No, needed a 13. So Pulov stays the way he is. So that is the normal detection. So let's look at these other ones. Visual detection, then radar search detection, then look down. I'm assuming you do them in that order. Doesn't really tell you on this chart either, does it? I'll leave the chart up and I'll just have a look in the rule book. Right, yeah, I was getting a bit confused here about visual detection. I think I was initially, well, maybe this is right. I think I was thinking visual detection would actually identify. See, it's different because the bots thing. I mean, we're either on that side undetected, or on the other side identified and detected. Whereas they've got generic. These are still generic counters. These two, and it does say in the bot flight activation table in player aid card 5, the bot flights use generic flight counters until activated. Generic bot flights activate defending to fall in a car. And the first one is, it is visually identified. So the fact that these are detected, can I still do a visual? Is visually identified. Oh no, hang on, Grant. 10.4. I'm looking at the wrong bit. Give me a second. Yeah, 10.4 visual identification. Flights use generic flight counters until they are visually identified, at which point they're replaced with the actual flight counter. So that applies to the bot in these games, but it doesn't seem to apply to us because if you're playing as a two-player thing, I think you would both be doing it this way, but because it's just us, we are either detected or are we either undetected or detected but also identified, whereas the bot's different. I think that's right. So it says in day conditions, flights are visually identified the instant any of the following conditions occur. The flight enters standard air-to-air combat. A non-disordered enemy flight is within 1 hex. Is within 1 hex, has a line of sight, and is within 1 altitude band of the flight. Well, no, we're not within 1 hex. I knew we were within 4, and I thought that might be. So, no, we're not within 1 hex. An enemy AA, Sam, no. In night. Here we go. Right, okay. The note at the bottom. Note that successful visual detection rules, 10.21, which is what I was reading and getting confused about, do not result in visual identification. Okay, gotcha. Likewise, visual identification does not result in detection. Okay. Okay, so we could, right, okay. I think, well, I suppose if you were within 1 hex, yeah, you could have them identified but undetected. Because if we enter standard air-to-air combat with them, I think that automatically activates them and we need to know what they are, I think. Okay. And visually identified dummies are removed from the map. Right, okay, well we can't do that visual detection because everything is. Well, hang on, no, Pulov, we've had a normal detection attempt at detecting him. So we can now have a visual detection because we are within 4 hexes and Cobra is within 4. I didn't know if it mattered if he needed to be in the forward arc to detect, but I'm not reading anything about that. But I guess this is a visual thing, so the pilot can move his head round a bit, can't he? Although, can he look right behind himself? I don't know. Maybe there's modifiers to it. Well, no, is there? Right, well, there's the modifiers there. Well, we're going to use a Cobra flight anyway. And you can only do 1 visual detection attempt on a flight per turn. Is that right? You can do 1 for each enemy flight. Make only 1 visual detection attempt per enemy flight in each detection phase, regardless of the number of friendly flights eligible to visually detect. Right. Okay, so Cobra's going to make a visual detection attempt on Pulov, and the chart we use here as. So it's got visual IRST, so there's visual there. So I think it's the same as the one we were rolling on actually. Yeah, it was the D. Yeah, it's the same, so only 13 or greater. No, excuse me. So the modifiers there are -2. Target is 3 or 4 hexes away. Well, no, he's only 2 hexes away. 1, 2, so we're not getting that. Target in different altitude band. Well, we're at deck, he's at deck. No, not getting that. Target in haze or mist. No. Target used dash throttle previous turn. Night only. Right, well that was not night anyway. Detecting aircraft in rear arc of target. That's IRST searches only. That's a Warsaw Pact. They've got the IRST, have they not? Or am I thinking of something else there? Yeah, it's a MiG-29 that's got that IRST. So, right. Well, we'll come and look at that if we need to. So no modifiers. So again, we need a 13 or greater to detect Pulov. So let's roll the 5. So still not happening. So well, yeah. Now it comes to Pulov trying to visually identify each of these. Now he has that IRST, but I think the IRST just gives them a second attempt. Warsaw Pact flights with IRST sensors may make a second such attempt if the enemy flight is in the Warsaw Pact flight's forward arc. Well, it's not. What does IRST stand for? And it says only Warsaw Pact flights with IRST sensors may make visual detection attempts at night, but only in their forward arc at a range of 4 hexes or less. And but there is a modifier there, isn't there? We read it. +2, detecting aircraft in rear arc of target. IRST searches only. I thought it was saying you can't do it in your rear arc. Well, this is their second such attempt if the enemy flight is in the Warsaw Pact flight's forward arc. Right, I'm not really sure about this. Again, IRST stands for Infrared Search and Track. I don't know if there's any information in the rulebook telling you more about that. I'm not. You would think there might be, but the only bit it talks about it is in detection, under visual detection. So, and it gives a second attempt to a visual detection. So, visual detection, make only one visual detection attempt per enemy flight in each detection phase, regardless of the number of friendly flights eligible to visually detect. Exception, Warsaw Pact flights with IRST sensors may make a second such attempt if the enemy flight is in the Warsaw Pact's flight's forward arc. That's a second. Right, I'm going to read this. This is my thinking here. Because there's two different columns, there's visual and there's IRST. Well, the MiG does have IRST. However, both the flights that he's trying to look at make only one visual detection attempt per enemy flight. Yeah, I'm assuming he can make an attempt to visually identify that and that. It's only that we can't make more than one attempt on that. You know, if we had 2 aircraft try to detect that. However, this IRST would allow us a second attempt if they were in their forward arc, which they're not. So my thinking of this is that we're doing this visual detection, but we're going to use the IRST column. Now, I can only think that's right because he's got IRST capabilities, so he's got a slightly better chance at detection. And and then that makes sense to this +2 modifier as well. And then if we were in his forward arc and he failed the first detection attempt, he would be able to allow to make a second detection attempt. That's how I'm thinking about that. So let me know if I've got that wrong. So the IRST, let's say that's a 12 or higher, but the modifiers, well, no, the flights are 2 hexes away. Well, I'm going to look at Cobra first. So he's 2 hexes away. Altitude's the same. No haze or mist. It's not a night turn. But this is a modifier that's going to apply because detecting aircraft. Oh, hang on. detecting aircraft and rear arc of target. Detecting aircraft and rear arc of target. Well, he's not, is he? That seems... Yeah, that's not the case, is it? Because Pulov is the detecting aircraft, and he's in the front arc of the target. Okay. Right. I do have difficulty with all this, working out the front and the rear and where they all are. It's just, obviously, you could look, I mean, I don't know, does that make sense? I was thinking there that he's going to get a... Oh, hang on, no, that's a +2, Grant. That's a +2. That's a beneficial modifier. Ah, right. Of course, right, okay. I'm thinking about that being a negative modifier and wondering why it's worse for being the way I am. Well, it's not, yeah. So that would be more beneficial for us to be in his rear arc. Right, okay. So we're not getting that modifier, right. So there's no modifiers at all. It needs a 13 or greater, is that right? Yeah. So 13 or greater. This is for Pulov on Cobra. He's rolled a poor 3. Doing a 1. Alright, and then like I say, if this was in his forward arc, we would get another attempt at that, but it's not. So it's going to be exactly the same. Pulov's going to try... Oh no, Roach is already detected. Forgot about that. Right, we got him already. So that's that. That's our visual detection and IRST. Let me know if I've got any of that wrong. So finally we've got radar search detection. Both players may make an additional detection attempt for each enemy flight within range on the forward arc of a non-disordered... Okay, so we can't use that guy because he's disordered. However, Cobra can detect, and I think they have to be in their forward arc, don't they? Yeah. Both players may make an additional attempt for each enemy flight within range and the forward arc of a non... Hold on. Yeah, I honestly, I struggle with reading some of them and wonder, like, is it meaning... Now I'm reading that within range and the forward arc of a non-disordered, and I'm thinking, which one's meant to be which there? I don't know why I'm having a hard time with all that. So the enemy flight needs to be within range, and it needs to be in the forward arc of a non-disordered radar-equipped friendly flight. Yeah, okay, that's clear. It's crystal clear, Grant. It's just your... Yeah, anyway. So, and then let's check our radar. So we're looking at Cobra here, because we can't use Roach, he's disordered, Cobra is not. And, hang on though, these are all detected. We don't need to... Oh no, Pulov. These are all detected anyway, aren't they? We're still at Pulov, we've still got a radar detection attempt on Pulov. And he's within 25 hexes. He's not 20 or more, so we don't get that -1 modifier. And we've got track scan, haven't we? I thought we had... Ah, yeah, it says TS there, doesn't it? Is that not what that is? Yeah. Flight with track scan with an undetected enemy flight in its forward arc in the detection phase may make a second radar search attempt if the first radar search attempt fails. Yeah, okay, so we're going to actually get 2 attempts on that because, yeah, we've got that travel scan. So, aircraft radar searches, and then just getting the column in there, there's the F-15 there. So he's got a base attempt of 10 or more. The range to target -X. Yeah, that is... I'm just seeing minus X there. Was I reading that right? Am I reading that and it says the total range is 25, and my thought of that was that there was a -1 modifier if it was 20 or more hexes. So between 20 and 25 hexes, we would only get a -1. Or does it go up per hex? Range to target. I don't think so. CADC radar entry. I get the charts out just in case there's something not showing there. I think it's got the information on the card, right? F15A radar 25, 20 plus -1. Yeah, and I think maybe John would have mentioned, because I've talked, I mean, that was my understanding of it, it's just a -1. If it was between 20 and 25 hexes away, you would get a -1. It's just, I guess it's the fact it's showing a -X there, but that X, it might be more for a certain aircraft. You know, it could be a -2 for certain aircraft, and that's why it's maybe marked as an X, I suppose. That's my thinking. Right, well, we're not getting that. Targeting different altitude bands, they're both at deck level, we're good. Target at deck is a -2. Target at deck in Rough Mountain. Pulov we're looking at here. No, we looked at him already, and he's just outside the rough. There's a rough bit just finishes, but I don't think it creeps into the hex. Doesn't look like it to me, so we're not going to give him that. So, however, he does get the -2 for being at deck. And then there's no chaff color of the bit, but searching flight in beam arc of target. I think that is, isn't it? Searching flight. We're in the searching flight, and we're in his beam, aren't we? We're in his rear beam. Okay. I think that's where I am. So we're in his rear beam, so he gets a -2 for that as well. Yeah. So it's a -4. So yeah, that's not so good. But we had a sorry, we're coughing again. -4. We needed a 10 or greater, but with a -4 modifier. But we're going to get 2 attempts at this because of the trackball scan. So let's see what we get first. Rolled 9, -4 is only 5. Let's say we needed 10, so no. But we will use the trackball scan to do it again. We've rolled 4, -4, so that's 0. Yeah, so that was a whole lot of nothing. We weren't able to detect Pulov. And right, so finally, Pulov. Well, there's no airway warning radars. Yeah, I think that's one of the aircraft that fly about with a big thing radar on the top, don't they? Looking for things, but we've not got any of that. Or maybe it's something on the ground. We don't have that. No, that's not in this scenario. But they would still get Pulov. Yeah, Pulov could still attempt to detect Cobra. No, because he's not in the forward arc, is he? Yeah, Pulov doesn't have us in our forward arc, so he can't try a radar detection. Okay, right, that's the detection phase over. That was quick. Not. Yeah, and if I'd looked at the sequence of play, it does say it that way. Roll to detect undead flight, standard visual, radar search, and EWR. And then 10.25. Detection attempts are resolved. Right, anyway, okay, so that's that over. So now movement phase. So we're going to roll to determine initiative again. 1 to 6 is NATO. I think we want the initiative here. I've rolled a 4, so it is NATO. Draw initiative chits. Well, I'm just going to do that now. Hopefully we get a 2 here. Large is a 3. Oh, small is a 3. Right, so we are going to get to activate both our flights. Excuse me. Sorry, to move both our flights. Okay, but we need to know what... This guy's got a manoeuvre marker on him and a disordered marker. So we need to know what all that's about. So give me a sec. Right, so again, I'm not going to bring this out come the next scenario. It's too much. These videos go on long enough. So manoeuvre marker 6.35. This is on page 10. Manoeuvre markers are placed on flights after scattering and standard air combat, which is what happened. There are exceptions. Do not place markers on flights already marked with manoeuvre markers. A flight that begins its movement with a manoeuvre marker must expend half its movement points rounded up to remove the marker before it expends any other movement points. Okay. And so that would mean he's... What is his speed? He's at low. He's got a speed of 4. Unless we set him at dash, he's got a speed of 5. To be honest, we'd be better setting him at dash because he's just wanting to get out of there, isn't he? Roach is the one that's not got any weapons left, isn't he? Yeah, and he's only got one damaged... Oh, I forgot he's got a damaged flight. Does that matter to anything? I think that only comes in at once if it gets attacked again. I don't think there's any problem with... Well, maybe... maybe you can go dash throttle then. Right, I may need to look at that as well, about what effects damage have. Because we've only got one aircraft left out of the 2 that we had. One got shot down, and the one that we've got left is damaged. So what about this disordered marker? That's more of a problem, I think. Okay, so we've got to spend half our movement anyway. Let's find out about disordered though. Okay, try to find out about disordered, but I think it's just over the page here. So I know it says damage effects. This is where we've been through this. Damaged aircraft, which is what we've got in this flight. We've got one damaged aircraft. Are not counted toward the total aircraft available to make air-to-air or air-to-ground attacks. Damaged aircraft must immediately jettison all air-to-ground ordnance. Well, we didn't have an air-to-ground, so we wouldn't have done any of that. So I think that's only effects. If it was crippled... crippled aircraft may not select dash throttle and future game turns. Flights with crippled aircraft may be split in the admin phase. Treated the same as damage. So I don't think it affects anything unless we're getting attacked, because if we get attacked and I think that's only crippled as well. That anyway, I don't think there's any other effect. So right, let's look at this disordered state. So there's disordered state 13.11 on page 21. We looked at this before. That was probably the last bit I'd looked at, I think, when we finished things up. Flights that become disordered are noted in, as such in the flight log. Optionally mark the flight with disordered marker. I've done that. Yeah, we've looked at this a few times. Disordered flights cannot enter defensive wheels. Immediately leave such upon becoming disordered. They may not visually detect. Okay, well, we didn't use him for any of that. Radar search, initiate air-to-air combat, or make air-to-ground attacks. Right, well, we've no weapons either anyway, so we've not even got a gun, so we've got nothing. Modifiers apply to engagement and to air-to-air combat. Flights can recover from disorder in the admin phase. Disordered flights roll 2 dice and add their aggression value. And this is the bit, modify the roll by +8 if in or adjacent to a rally point. So, okay, we want to head back towards Cassel airfield, because if we're there, we're going to get that +8 and the admin phase. However, like I say, we're just trying to get out of there anyway, so... But it does look like we can just move as normal. Well, I say as normal. We've got the manoeuvre marker, so... looks like we can go at dash throttle. Mind you, it's going to be a 5 movement, half rounded. Yeah, my guess is probably rounded down, isn't it? I need to see the manoeuvre marker again. Hang on. It's half its a flight that begins its movement with a manoeuvre marker must expend half its movement points rounded up. Right, I hate when they do that as well. So it's got to expend half its movement points rounded up. So half its movement points, if it was at -5, half its movement points rounded up, it would be 2.5 rounded up to 3. So that's what we'd have to expend, 3. So it would still only have 2 left. So there's no point me going at dash then, is there? No. I'd have to be up at medium altitude to benefit from it. So, okay, right, fair enough. Yeah, and just finishing up there, the do not roll for disorder recovery. The flight was attacked by SAM that turn, engaged in air combat that turn. So we had that, but then we weren't getting that +8 anyway. So I think it'd be a tough roll to get. I think you need that +8 really. Right. So anyway, we are trying to just get out of there. I think. It's like I've said a few times now. It's not got any weapons. It can't do anything. So we'll just keep it set at normal throttle. Now, so we're going to remove the manoeuvre marker, and that's going to cost us 2 of our, well, it's going to half our 4 movement down to 2. So we'll take that off. We've still got that disorder marker. We're going to move to, yeah, I suppose we'll just go 1 and then 60-degree turn. I think that's a bit pointless, isn't it? Well, we're not going to get anything better anyway, are we? Can we not reach... Oh, we're at low altitude as well. We probably want to go down to the deck. You know where a better hex would be? That hex has actually got a bit of rough in it. Although it's kind of taking me away from the airfield, but... just got a better chance. I can go undetected, can't I? If I'm at deck level. Yeah, okay. Let's just do that. Let's do 1 and then 2. That's still that side of the front. That's just, if I went one more, that'd be over the other side of the front. I don't want to do that. 1, 2, and then 60-degree turn back that way. So, and when I've done that, I'm dropping to deck level. So I'm somewhere in that, I'm dropping to deck level. So he's still disordered at deck level, but he's in a rough. He's just got, there's just a wee touch of rough, but it does say that. It does say that any part of, there is a wee bit of rough leading into that hex. So that'll get him undetected again, I think. And he does need to be marked with a max turn marker. Well, actually, I'll get one of them. Hopefully I'll remember that. No, hang on. That's marked with a max turn, because he finished on a turn there. Okay, so we did draw a 3, so we are able to move Cobra now as well. Okay, so he's got all the work to do by himself now, isn't he? And we know this is one of the bombers. That one's on the spine. In fact, is here the same? Oh, he's behind them, but he's in the full hex. So we probably want to have... I don't know if we should try and take Pulov out. The fact he's disordered just now, I'm sure would give us some benefits, you would think, anyway. But should we waste our time with... I've got to be careful that I don't end up wiping out all my weapons on that flight. He's only got 1 aircraft left in Pulov flight. Right, think about what you're going to do then, Grant. Okay, been on pause there for quite a few hours actually. just didn't have the time to carry on there. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But I think I'm going to do a BVR attack, and I think I'm going to, because we can do two, we can target two targets in BVR because of the F-15, and they automatically engage. Yeah, I see we should have taken advantage of that previously. We didn't. So now these two are at deck level, so that's good. And then what I'll do is, this guy's at deck level, this guy's at low, and we want to be, because modifiers obviously come into it when we're at different altitudes. Yeah, defender at deck, it would be a -2 to the BVR, unless we're at deck as well, which we are. Yeah, and that happens to low as well. Okay, that's good. Now, I need to, right, so we're going to move this Cobra flight, and I need to move, at least I need to use one movement point before I can then carry out the BVR, but I suppose we're going to auto engage it anyway, aren't we? So, should I just move into that hex? I think so. Again, I was trying to look there to see where the best bit to come in from, and I guess that'll become better. I know with BVR would be better heading front on. I've worked that one out, but it's not really, I'm not so sure it's that feasible here, is it? So I think we'll just stay at the combat throttle, and we'll move one movement point into here. Now there's not a minimum range of the BVR, is there? Oh, hang on. Where's our other flight as well? It needs to be at least 3 hexes away, isn't it? 1, 2. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think so. Yeah, maybe you should double check though, Grant. No, I don't think there's an issue. It just says we need to be in range. Defender must be detected. He's not detected. We had about 4 attempts at him, didn't we? That's annoying. So can I not even challenge him in standard air then? Yeah, defender must be detected. Oh well, that solves that problem then. Well, yeah, that's a shame because he's disordered as well. I think we were going to get surely get something good out of that. Right, well, if I still make that move, then can I not make the attack on these two then? Because these are both detected. However, we know, and this one's at high altitude, that's why I was going to leave that one. But then we know for a fact that is a bomber. In fact, one of them is going to be the dummy, isn't it? So would we not be better trying to fire at these two? Well, I mean, I could climb. I could move. No, it's a movement point to climb as well, isn't it? I could climb to low. Yeah, because there's a -1 per altitude band difference between attacker and defender. So from deck we'd have low, medium, high. We'd get a -3 for that. Whereas if I climb 1, at least it's a -2. And I'm going to be attacking him from his beam, which is another -1. At least I think that's a beam. Well, actually, that might be the rear arc. That'd be a -2. That'd be bad. That will be the rear arc, won't it? There, I think so. Oh, that's annoying. I thought I had it all sorted just to go for that guy. Oh, hang on though. He's turned. Get that max turn marker out of the way, Grant. It's maybe not. Nah, that is his beam. In fact, that's going to be his forward beam, isn't it? Where was the one I had it? I was looking at it earlier. Yeah, it's not in his forward arc. Well, I'd be moving into that hex there, wouldn't I? So that would be his forward beam. I think, yes. So it is the beam. Well, it's not the rear arc, yeah, so there's still a -1 for the beam. And yeah, forward arc's good, but I'm not in their forward arc. Neither am I. Well, I suppose I should have a go at the hat. We did have a go at him already before though, didn't it? And the -3 was pretty brutal. Okay. Yeah, and I thought I was going to be able to standard air-to-air combat by moving it in that hex too. Problem is, once I've moved that one hex, I'm going to have to... I can't just stop. Now, I think you can use one less in your movement. Is that right? I've got a movement of 4. But then I don't think I want to get in front of that guy. One. Well, it's just we could try and turn and come into him head on. I think it's okay having the beam. Just we do need to get our altitude up. Let me see. Yeah, just checking. Page 9, 6.21 combat throttle. A combat throttle selected announce movement points equal to the maximum combat speed or one less than this number. So it's 4, but I could just use 3. We've got to announce what we're going to do with that now. And then dash, if it's dash, you announce a movement point between the combat and maximum dash speeds. So, yeah, well, yeah, I see what it means. If you were at high level there, for instance, the combat's 5 and the dash is 8, so it'd be anything between 5 and 8. Obviously, there'd be no point, really. I think, yeah, you'd be wanting to get the most out of that, wouldn't you? So I could pick 3 movement points if I wanted to. So, what I'm thinking is, I can't double. Oh yeah, well you can't. I could zoom climb, can't I? But then I get a zoom climb marker on me, which is maybe bad. Yeah, let's not do that. I don't know. I don't know if it's that bad or not. Okay, so I'm gonna use, but then I've still got 1 movement point to use, haven't I? Maybe I could do this zoom climb then. Let's look at that. The thing is, I don't really want to go up. Well, I suppose that this guy's more important because this could be a dummy, this one, couldn't it? So, I suppose getting to medium altitude, and then there'd be a one altitude difference between that and the low, so that wouldn't be that bad. But we get an extra -1 for defender being at low, and we're higher. Yeah, that does kind of work. I maybe just want to be low, to be honest. But then I'm going to have 1 more movement point to use, so I'm going to have to move an extra point. I'm not sure what to do with that. Right, okay. Not sure if this is silly or not. We're going to make a turn of just 30 degrees. Now, yeah, I can do that and use a movement point, can't I? I think so, because I would have to have moved to get the free turn. So I'm going to use that. That's 1 movement point. Then 2 movement points and free turn. And then the third movement point I'm going to climb, and yeah, I'm going to use all my 4 movement points at combat throttle, and then 4 movement points free turn to finish. Does this feel like I should be behind this guy? Do you know that's a better place to be? Now, yeah, I mean, I can announce a BVR engagement attempt at any one of the movement points that I use there, but the fact we auto-engage, I think I can just leave it to the finish of my movement points there, and then announce that I'm going to engage this and this. I'm going to engage the 2 targets. And hopefully that's alright. I've spent all my 4 movement points. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not feeling 100% sure about getting all this right, to be honest, but we're going to go for that. So, I guess I'd do these individually. We do all engage, so I don't need to roll for that. And we are allowed to target 2. BVR. Engagement F-15 flights auto engage for BVR 11.44. Let's see if it mentions the fact it can do 2. All prerequisites are met. Yeah, the other flight 1, 2, 3. Our other flight is not within 3 hexes, but I get the feeling, no, maybe not. No, it's between 3 hexes of these 2. He's away down here, so I think that was the only thing that could stop us before, wasn't it? So if all prerequisites are met, F-15 flights automatically succeed with BVR engagement attempt. In addition, F-15 flights may attempt to engage 2 different enemy flights in BVR combat in the same movement phase. They may then attempt to engage either of those 2 flights in standard air-to-air combat in that same movement phase. Well, we're not doing that, so we're going to have a BVR attempt at both of them. Well, I'm not sure how. I mean, I was just going to do this guy first. However, we need to find out if this guy is, because he's now going to be. We're going to have to find out if he's a dummy or. Bottle flights use generic flight counters. It receives an attempt BVR combat, so it is going to activate. No, hang on. The DBD rules are slightly different to this activation, where they're not. When activating bot flights, maximum 1 dummy flight. A roll of 0 to 5 is a real flight. So we kind of want this to be... oh, that's a misprint, by the way. That shouldn't be 0, because 0 is 10. So it's 1's the lowest number you can get. So it's 1 to 5. I noticed somebody had pointed that out and got confirmed. So it's 1 to 5 we kind of want, because if this is a dummy... and we don't add negative modifiers. Maximum dummy flight. Yeah, we're rolling 1 dice. Oh yeah, I was watching a couple of videos again of some other people on this. It was maybe that gamer Hudson, and yeah, I noticed this. It's got 2 dice there, so that's a 2 dice roll, and whereas yeah, I figured so I wouldn't be able to show you one. It's got 1. Yeah, there we go. Across there, it's got just the 1 die there. So yeah, I hadn't really noticed that before. So funny how you get these things like that. So we're rolling 1 die, and we're wanting a 1 to 5 here. Hopefully, I rolled a 9. Great. So this is a dummy flight. So I'm guessing the dummy flight, it just goes away, I would think. I don't think anything else can really happen, can it? It says in player aid card 5, if it's dummy, remove the flight marker. So that one's going to go away. I'll take that max. Well, actually, that guy should have. It's that max turn marker there, wasn't it? No, we're taking that away. We're taking that away. So we do now know that this is going to be the other bomber. Which, yeah, well, that's fine. Yeah, it's a pity. Yeah, I didn't want that result, did I? I wanted to be able to fire at both of them, didn't I? Oh, well, okay. Right, well, we've succeeded anyway in engaging that. So, BVR, air-air, combat sequence, engagement. Only the attacker rolls for BVR engagement. Well, we've done that. If successful, proceed to B. I'm looking at the player aid here. Again, going to do away with showing you this come the next scenario, or it's going to take even longer than normally. A couple of counters away there. So B, manoeuvre. If BVR combat commences, attacker only rolls on the manoeuvre table, determine the number of shots, check if Soviet doctrine applies. If no shots, skip to G. Yeah, I think this is where we didn't get any shots at all last time, did we? Although we've went up our altitude slightly, so what chart am I looking for now? Hang on. Yeah, it was on the same player aid, which is a bit annoying because I've got to turn it over. However, we're rolling on the manoeuvre table, and John had confirmed for me that is only for standard air-to-air, and that, yeah, I got that eventually. That modifies the flight manoeuvre rating, which doesn't come into BVR combat, so that's fine. So, and then they're all for standard air-to-air. So BVR combat, use BVR com off on the manoeuvre table and apply only these DRN. So per altitude band difference between attacker and defender, well, yeah, we're at low and he's at high, so that's a -2. -2. Defender at low altitude, no he's not. Defender at deck altitude, no he's not. He's at high. Defender at very high, no he's not. Defender attacked from rear arc, so no. So we are in his beam, because he's pointing that way and we are at the side of him. So, however, that is another -1. So yeah, -3. -3. Defender attacked from forward arc. You can see, I don't think I would have been able to turn enough to get around and come in from the front there, and then plus the attacking flight's aggression value, but yeah, we're a 0 with that, aren't we? Now, did any of that get adjusted? It did, didn't it? What got adjusted? Oh no, it was Pulov. Pulov lost 1 point. Roach lost a point. I can see I've got it highlighted here in my pen, haven't I? Roach lost a point down to -1, and Pulov started at +1 but went down to 0. But Cobra is still, well, it's still at 0, so it's not good. So we've got -3 to this roll, and as you can see, right, number of aircraft. Number of aircraft. Here we are again, wondering if this is the number of aircraft. And my flight or his flight? Why am I got this wrong, didn't I? Before. Hang on, it must be attacking flights, because we're the only one that's rolling on this. But normally, if it was normal air-to-air combat, both of us would roll on this table. So we would both surely look at the number of flights in a number of aircraft in our own flights. So yeah, so I think, pretty sure that's attacking aircraft. Yeah, you're going to go with that, or you're going to go and double check John's answer when he mentioned that. You know what, I better just double check. Yeah, I don't need to check that, do I? Because you can see the more aircraft you've got in the flight, the more shot opportunities you're getting. Yeah, I'm not going to even check that. I've got that. So we've got a -3, but we still need a high number, don't we? We need... What do we need? Well, hang on, we've got 2 aircraft in our flight. Yeah, this flight wasn't touched. Cobra's quite intact. So he's got 2 aircraft. So 2 aircraft, so the first result, yeah, we're wanting a 10. We're wanting at least a 10. However, we've got a -3, so we're wanting at least a 13. Yeah. Okay, so big roll needed. Soviet doctrine doesn't matter because, yeah, he's the defended flight anyway. Okay, big number. Come on. 8. Great. So 8 -3 is 5. That's just a big... What a nothing. Okay. So... Well, that's going to be that, isn't it? So we got no shot opportunities. Check if no shots, skip to G. Markers marked disordered. Abort status based on morale check results. We didn't need to do a morale check. Place a BVR avoid marker if any shots occurred. Again, no. That's it. Roll for bailouts. Meh. Okay, well that was hopeless. Well, okay then. Right, well let's just move on. So that was our initiative over. We've moved both our flights. So now it's the Warsaw Pact. Now they've got their 3 flights. Don't need to draw a chit. So we've got a heart here, and that's a spade. And what's Pulov? Pulov's a heart as well. He's undetected, so I think we need to roll to find out which one's going to go first. Right, so actually we just need to roll between a heart and a spade, don't we? Yeah, so hearts are odd. I rolled a 10, so it's the spade, and he's the activated flight, isn't he? So yeah, he's our bomber at high altitude, and just wanting to stick with his so bot flight actions. He doesn't have any well, he's got a max turn marker, but that's just going to drop off. It means he's got to go straight on the first movement point that he spends, which is fine. Excuse me. And yeah, he's just going to stick with after activation of SU-24C bombing flight, ignore engagement actions, defend as per bombing assignment, and continue on the flight plan. So yeah, he's just going to keep going until he reaches the airfield and messes things up for us. So so there's that. That's his next waypoint, isn't it? He's not that far away, is he? So no, he's laden, of course, isn't he? He's got bombs. Was there any talk of him going at... he's at high altitude. So his normal movement at Laden high altitude is a 3. Looking at the fencer here. But his dash throttle was a 5. But I don't think there was... I'm just wondering if there'd be any reason for him to go to dash throttle. After activation of SU-24C bombing flight, defend as per bombing assignment and continue on flight plan. Okay, I'm just reading on. A waypoint A4, which is the next waypoint. This is Special Rules 8. At waypoint A4, bot unactivated generic and SU-24C flights must descend to low altitude and remain at low altitude for the bombing run. If a generic flight reaches the target hex and there are unactivated SU-24C flights remaining, which is the case at the moment, the flight activates as an SU-24 flight and bombs the target as below. And then When a bot Su-24 flight reaches Castle Airbase hex, do not roll for bomb attacks. It is assumed they automatically destroy the runway for the purpose of this scenario only. Yeah. Yeah, and if a flight Su-24s with ordnance reach Cassel Airbase, the mission ends immediately. Right. Yeah, I'm in trouble here, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure about the fact if he would consider going to dash throttle, but I'm wanting to say that I don't think they would, but I'm trying to find something that tells me they would stick at combat throttle, and it's probably staring me in the face, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to stick at combat throttle because I think that's where it should be, and I feel like there's something there that should tell me that, but. I mean, when it talks generic bot flights, it talks about combat throttle, isn't it? But we're not a generic flight anymore. We are an Su-24. Yeah, I'm going to stick at combat throttle. I know that gives me a slightly better chance because he's going to reach if he was to speed up. But I don't know. Something wants to say that they do stay at that. So. Well, he's going to not turn, he's going to go 1. So he's staying at... so he's only got a movement of 3 because he's laden. That's right. So 1 free turn. We can get rid of that. Now, you do kind of want... There's not talk about him dropping to... Of course, once he reaches A4, it probably gives him enough time to go drop to medium, drop to low. Is it low he needs to get to? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, low. So yeah, there's no need for him to drop his altitude just yet. So he's going to stay on that. So that was 1 free turn. 2, and then 3, and he's actually in a rough hex there. However, he's staying at high altitude because he's not going to do the check. What was it? The altitude change until he's 1 hex away from there. So, okay, so we've still got a little bit of time, I suppose. Yeah. Right, so the hearts are going to go next, and between these two, real bot flights and the suit move first. Well, oh, that's right, Pulov's going to be a real flight. Well, we know this is a... we know that's the other Su-24, don't we? But there's nothing kind of saying that I should put the flight on the map. Or should I do that? Because we know there's only one dummy. Yeah, I dare say I could probably put the marker on that, but I'll not do that just now. I'll just follow what I'm reading. So it does say real bot flights in the suit move first in order based on proximity to human players' flights with the closest moving first. Resolved highs by random selection. So we do have this. This has been identified, and this has been activated. Sorry, and this one's not, even though this is undetected. So, well, what's the MiG going to do then? Okay, well, he's actually going to do this, isn't he? So we didn't need to roll that time. It was hearts, and because he's the real fight, we're going to activate him first. So we come across here, and then he has a manoeuvre marker on him. So we're going to set combat throttle and spend half his movement points to remove the manoeuvre marker. So we'll do that first. Now, The combat throttle. This is 4, isn't it? Or is it... Yeah, he's at deck level, yeah. So his movement was 4. So that comes off. He's got 2 movement point left then, because that costs him 2. And then he's got instructions here for being disordered. And I think I have to look at these first before we flip over. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I don't... Yeah, well, in fact, he's disordered. He can't attack, can he? We can't initiate combat when they're disordered. So it says, if not adjacent to an orbit rally point... Right, well, he's not. At least I don't think he is. Dash throttle. How can that happen then? If any of these conditions... Right, hang on. Just going back to the top there. If any of these conditions apply, in order, move as follows. If any of these conditions apply in order. So my guess is we're going to look at them from top to bottom, aren't we? So he's already set combat throttle, so you can't set dash throttle. Climb 1 altitude band and move as close as possible to the nearest orbit rally point or friendly airfield. If already adjacent to orbit rally point, combat throttle, stay at current altitude and move as necessary to remain adjacent. So, well, yeah, he's got to get rid of that disorder marker, hasn't he? Because he can't... I don't think he can do anything. So where's his nearest... Well, that's going to put him out the game really as well, isn't it? Because by the time he goes away and comes back, I'd like to... Well, pretty sure things will be over, whether it's in our favour or in their favour. After activation of MiG-29A, follow close escort rules. But yeah, he's got to get rid of that. He's got to get rid of that disorder marker, hasn't he? Well, the orbit point is way down here. Now, that's, like it's been pointed out to me, these airfields, that's probably his closest then. Is it? Or maybe here. I mean, he's... Because it's got to be over this front, isn't it? Well... Well, we've got to find these things out. So, let's just go with what it says on the Playrate 5. I'm not really finding anything, you know. Because there is no point him messing about until he becomes not disordered. Let me just double check that. The disordered part about him. Yeah, I managed to flick right to the page there. Page 21, disordered state. Looking at this again. So it says disordered flights cannot enter defensive wheels and immediately leave such upon becoming disordered. Right, that's not really relevant. They may not visually detect, radar search, initiate air-to-air combat, or make air-to-ground attacks. So initiate air-to-air combat, I think that's both. Just rule 11. So yeah, it's air-to-air combat is BVR and standard air-to-air. So he cannot do any of that. And I suppose he would be able to defend against it. We shouldn't really bother trying to attack him then, really, should we? Oh, well, we couldn't. He was undetected. That we eventually came to that conclusion. Okay, well, I'm just going to go with what it says on the Playrate card 5. Where have I put that now? Oh, I've done that. It's up on the map. Right, and just going to go with what it says there, which is not adjacent to orbit, dash throttle. Well, we can't do dash throttle because he had to get rid of the manoeuvre marker 2. So he's got 2 movement points. He's wanting to climb an altitude band and move as close as possible to the nearest orbit rally point. Well, I'm not full sure why he's wanting to climb to do that, but okay, so he uses 1 movement point to climb to low. We'll just go with this and we'll see. And with that, he'll get a free, that'd be 30 degrees, 60 degree turn. I think he can get the same, right? I think it's the same. Oh, maybe I should look. Where's the one that tells you the turn? There's that much stuff in this game, isn't there? There's a lot, eh? Try to find the right chart. I think it's this one, somewhere. Maybe not. Right, hang on. I must have looked through the cards so many times. There's on player aid card 1. Turntable. So we had a speed of 4. Yeah, it got half, but it was still a speed of 4 to start with. So his free would be 60 degrees, yeah. So it's not him. It's this guy here. So I think we've turned him 60, haven't we? Yeah, he was pointing up the way, 30, 60. And yeah, because he climbed 1 and he gets the free turn. And then yeah, I guess I'm just gonna move him into that hex. I'm not quite sure which one's closest. So he's at low, is that right? Yeah, because he was at deck and he stays disordered. Okay, right, I think that's it. I'm just going to go with that, and John, no doubt, will keep me right. Or if anybody else wants to chime in, feel free. But it'd be good to know that we are doing the right things here and following the bot stuff properly, so that when I do go into the second mission, or maybe I need to play this one again, because it looks like I'm maybe not going to do it. Right, okay, let's get the last flight moved in. So, yeah, again, I'm not sure again, looking for a bit of help with that. I suppose, should we put the counter out for that? You know, it is going to be this guy. Is it? Vlad. He's going to go in there, and he's actually a diamond as well, so it would change his suit, but there's nothing quite to say. I mean, only say that happens if he's visually identified, attempts to engage in, receives an attempt. Yeah, none of these things have happened yet, but we know the dummy flight's not there, so we know exactly what that is. Okay, well, leave him as he is just now. Now, has he reached the 3rd waypoint yet? I should leave the waypoint markers on, really shouldn't I, until all the flights have passed that. It's hex 5109 maybe? No, 5108. So it's there. So that's where the 3rd one is. So he's actually going to just stay at combat, throttle. Now, well, there you go. He's still a generic flight. So technically, he's still showing a clean. Yeah, that's okay. Well, again, let me know if I'm getting that right, because we know he's a laden bomber, we should really be going with that, but he's not been activated yet, and I think that's what the bot rules are. He needs to be activated, so we follow a clean Su-24 at deck altitude. So he's got 4 movement points. So he's going to move 1 there at deck. He's got 3 more to move. He's now adjacent. He's now 1 hex away from the waypoint A3. Which, like I say, I should have left a cube there until they've all passed that. So we want to roll Wrong rule book now. On that random bot flight altitude, so it's just one dice to see if he changes his altitude. Rolled a 5. Descend 1 altitude band as a free move. He's at deck, so I'm guessing he's not going to do that. Yeah, if not possible to climb any higher or descend any lower, treat the attempt as no change. So he's going to stay where he is, so that's 1, then 2, free turn, 60 degrees, then 3, then 4. And he's staying at deck altitude. I can take that cube away now, which is just what I should have done before. So now we've got the 2 bombers, although we've still not, one of them still not activated. And we've only got the 1 flight of F-15s to try and deal with both of them. And we're going to be coming in from the beam again. Doesn't look good. It looks like the rest of this is going to be pretty much out of the game. This guy's not any good to us, but I don't think their MiG aircraft that they've got left is any good to them either. Like by the time they get their disorder marker removed, can they not still attempt? Oh, well, they weren't able to attempt it last turn. I think they can still attempt it, but I think you're going to have to roll big, aren't you? Yeah, just having a look. That's the back of the parade 5 for the bot and the admin phase. That is what they want to try and do. Try to rally disordered flights. So I think they will try and roll the dice, but I think they're going to have to get a lucky roll. But we'll find out about that. Well, we'll find out about that pretty soon. Because an hour and a half gone. Again, not done an awful lot, but going through it slowly and carefully, hopefully. And yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to have to get kind of lucky here, aren't we? Because again, like I say, we're going to be coming from the beam. One of these is at high altitude, one of them's at deck. We really want to... we will be able to engage them both again, I suppose. So, and this time it's not going to be a dummy. We're just going to get the counter and have a go at them. But I think we're going to have to get a better dice roll going. Okay. Everybody moved, so sequence of play, we've done the movement phase, fuel phase, nobody used dash throttle or engaged in, see it does just say there, or engaged in air-to-air combat, which is not BVR air-to-air combat does not, that doesn't apply to. Yeah, that's maybe where I read that and got that wrong. That's right, because I think that's one of the points John pointed out to me. I was going to use not a fuel usage, but it was just BVR we had used. Okay. SAM location phase, track phase, right. All detected NATO flights in deck. Well, actually, we're undetected anyway. What about this guy? Well, he's detected, and he's in deck at. He's in rough. That is rough. Yeah, that's why I thought that was a good place to put him. So, yeah, let me get that detected chart back out again. Let's have a look. All detected NATO flights at deck in rough. Yeah, automatically go undetected. Right, so he will... I don't know if the fact he's disordered. It doesn't mention anything about that, so I think we're okay with that. So I think he becomes undetected. Not that it's really that relevant, but... he's still got that max turn marker. And there are other flight... he's not at deck, but he was undetected anyway. So this guy's undetected. They've got a chance of these two. So we're rolling on our D column. Let's check that up there for the track D. So this is to see Hang on. All detected native flights at deck and RAF. All detected flights at deck and adjacent to mountain. No, there's still no mountains up that area, is there? Yeah, that one's in deck. It's not even... Nah. It's not adjacent to a mountain. Yeah, okay. So we're going to roll on the track table on the decal. We've got 13, which is heart, is it? Yeah, so their heart one is going to become undetected, I think. It's not got the curly brackets. Flip all detected flights off the road suit to their undetected side. Yeah, so that's annoying. Hopefully we'll get him detected again before we go into our movement, and because we want to be able to BVR both of them. Okay. Right, that's the track phase done. Excuse me. Time acquisition. Admin phase. Right. Flights roll for disorder recovery. 13.11. So we've got 2 of us that can roll on this. Right. Wait till I get the rule up. Right, so it's this disordered state again. I don't know if there's a chart that deals with it, but flights can recover from disorder in the admin phase. Disorder flights roll 2 dice and add their aggression value. Modify the roll by +8 if and or adjacent to a rally point. So, that would have been... Yeah, why didn't we think about that? Göttingen. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter because we've not got any weapons. But yeah, I should have moved adjacent to that airfield, shouldn't I? And then I would have got the +8, I think. Oh well. Right, so none of us are adjacent to a rally point. I don't believe. And then it's on a final 20 or more, remove the disorder status. Do not roll if the flight was attacked that turn, engaged in air combat that turn, acquired by a SAM anytime during that turn. So none of they got disorder from the previous turns, air combat, didn't they? So we've got Roach has got a -1. Because his aggression value is -1. There's no point me rolling then, because I can't roll a 21, can I? No, that's only... You only get 2 modifiers, add their aggression value, and +8 if they're adjacent to a rally point. So what is Pulov then? He was started at +1, he's a 0. So he could roll, if he rolls an actual 20 here, and he has not 2 3s, so 6. So no, yeah, you can see that's going to be a tough one. I mean, even a +8 to that, you still need to roll pretty well. Okay, so nothing doing there, I think. So if yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I'll leave it at that. Again, only got 1 turn done, so I'm moving on to turn 7. But yeah, there's probably only a couple turns more to go, isn't there? I mean, you can look at 1, 2, 3. What is it? They've got 3 movement points, aren't they? 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. That's it. So yeah, there's only 2 more turns. We need to stop the first fight because he gave me 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Was it adjacent or did he need to be over it? I actually needs to reach the airbase hex. So if we can take him out, we've got an extra turn, I think, because he'll just be 1 hex short. I think, anyway. Right, okay. Well, I'll leave it for now. Not sure back to work again for a bit, but still got a bit more time coming up. coming up, and yeah, I dare say I'm going to have the chance to get some going. Maybe it won't be that frequent just now, but anyway. Okay, let me know, John or anybody else, how all that went. If I was getting things right, there's a few things there I wasn't too sure about regarding the bot and what the bot was doing. So, yeah, let me know. Okay, guys, cheers.